Give a comedy unleashed welcome to Craig Campbell!
Right on, how are you? Yeah? Put a hand for Bruce, keep your hands together for Bruce. Another Scotsman in London, thank God, yes, fucking part conversation, part puzzle. And right up front, Nicholas, fucking put your hands together for fucking in the audience as well. Yeah. And right out of the gate, you saw Junior. You can keep your hands together going for fucking everybody. One more time for Kelly. She's from Hull. Did you know where Hull was? Did you know where she was from? No, and the whatnot means snatch. Got to translate sometimes for the Yanks, you know. Yeah, it's not like the golden days. Remember when people used to try to fuck you for a green card? Yeah. But I give you a break. You're among the Brits. You're doing your best. You're down front, and it's on display, and you're doing a fucking wicked job. Good for you. Yeah, they're not easy people to please, the Brits. Fucking hell. I'm sure you know that from the short time you've been living here. They're fucking judgmental as fuck, these people. Especially when you don't understand what's going on. Have you appreciated the intervals? The break? That they have to take a break between their acts because they drink so much. They can't rely on waitress service or bar service. Fucking British people, 20 minutes and like, okay, when's he gonna finish? What's going on here? Start looking at you and then looking at an empty glass. That's when the panto comes out. Do you think he knows? I know you're Canadian, but if you spend a little more time in England, you'll find we're not addicted to comedy. Have you noticed their other proclivities? Have you lived with them? Have you lived with a Brit yet? No, it's unbelievable. First thing I ever watched them do, this is like 30 years ago when I first ever played this room, first thing I ever witnessed in a recreational, like in a residential situation, was them, and they'll probably try not to give it away right now. They move a heater from room to room. The first time you witness that. In Manchester, just outside of Manchester, I asked my buddy Grant, I'm like, Grant, are you moving a heater from room to room? And he said, yeah, you wouldn't want to heat the whole house, would you? No. No, I don't think so. And I don't know what they call you, but in this very room about 27 years ago was one of my first ever shows in London, and that's what gave me for the rest of my comedy career the moniker Moosefucker. I received that heckle from a New Zealander. It feels like it's Providence that you're even here tonight. I'm just like performing, you know, minding my own business, and out of nowhere, Moosefucker. And I'd never been called a Moosefucker before. And at first, you know, I thought it was an insult, and then I realized, no, actually, a moose is a good-sized animal. That's a compliment, that one, baby. Especially coming from a Kiwi. Anybody can do that. Sheep just think you're fucking them weird. I don't know what's going on back there. You want to fuck a moose, you better have a plan. Gotta have the right music going. Get yourself an ice hockey stick so you can tickle his ear. Which I probably didn't have to act out for you. Nice to see that the lawyer stuck around for the entire show. Fucking awesome. And then we got two lawyers in the audience. I don't know if you've had this happen in your British experience yet, but one of my favorite moments in my life was being in Northern Ireland, listening to the radio and hearing lawyer pronounced as liar. They're on to something there. And I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, but I'm going to stick it out as long as I can. I am on baby watch right now. I'm waiting for a fucking baby call, and I'll be, yeah, totally. I'm a third child. Yeah. Very exciting. Fucking, that wasn't as exciting as I expected. How about a hand for 55-year-old sperm, motherfucker? Yeah! How they were able even to find a vagina. Let alone get in there and work their magic. How they were able to swim out of her rectum and get back into her vagina. Now that's the real magic I'm talking about. And we're going for our third home birth because I was paranoid before the fucking pandemic bullshit fucking happened. Like, holy fuck, stay out of their fucking hospitals. It started as a good deal, by the way. They have the NHS. Have you been in the NHS yet? Have you experienced it yet? Okay, well, one of the most amazing things about it is that it's public health, that it's like fucking provided, you know, nobody has to pay for it. It's fucking phenomenal. It doesn't matter if you're in Scotland, Ireland, fucking Wales, they just fucking, you're in. Fucking welcome aboard, come on in. You know, and if you're used to paying for, you know, medicine like yourselves and just fucking dying because you're fucking broke, it's a pretty awesome thing, right? But theirs is very different. They have an NHS, and one of the things I find most magical about it is it was given to all the Commonwealth. You might not know that, but I've experienced NHSs in Canada my entire life because you created the fucking NHS here and you gave it to fucking Canada and you gave it to New Zealand and you gave it to Australia. And I've been in hospitals in all of those countries, and we don't have to get into the whys or wherefores why. Safe to say, I have. And your NHS is entirely different. You have, of all the NHSs I've experienced, by the way, whether you love them or hate them now, they're the greatest NHS I've ever experienced because I've been to the hospital in Canada, I've been to the hospital in New Zealand, I have been to the hospital in Australia, but only in London. In London, goddamn England, at North Middlesex Hospital was I left in charge of my own morphine. Thank you. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah! Yes! Push button opiates, motherfucker! Only in the UK. Just leave you with a bag of drugs. There you are. Good luck. When you feel better, sneak out. I need that bed. It's a direct quote of the doctor. And I don't know where you feel about the maturity of your own life, but I didn't think I was ready to be in charge of the opiates. I don't know about yourself, but there was a large part of me that just thought, the fox is in the hen house here. Oh my God. I wasn't ready. I couldn't believe it was happening. And it's push button as well. They give you a push button and a cannula. Have you even heard of cannula? I didn't even know what a cannula was. They put it in a vein so they don't have to keep going into the vein all the time. So they spike morphine straight into the bloodstream. And I've had morphine in Canada. We got it in the high ass flesh, and for a while you didn't know if you were high or hungry or tired or what exactly was going on. But these people don't fuck around at all. Do you have a vein? I do. And do you have a thumb? Indeed I do. Take care of yourself. And I don't know what you would do if you're left with a push-button morphine, but right away, first thing I thought was go for 5. First thing I thought, first moment. And then I thought if you make 5, go 10, go 10. Maybe twice. I don't actually remember how many times I pushed that button. The only thing I actually remember is getting to the point where my thumb would no longer listen to my command. I said push the button. Who said that? I went from trying to push the button to give myself more morphine, this is absolutely true, to calling a nurse for help. It was one of the biggest climb downs of my life. I thought it was totally rock and roll. I can handle quite a bit of weed. I can bag a bunch of mushrooms, but I just thought, oh my God, I pushed the button too many times. I've never been this high before. And I called the nurse, I'll never forget. I pushed the button too many times. Can you die if you push the button too many times? Do you have anything that could moisten my eyeballs? And I nearly broke my own record for not taking a dump. Almost made it to a week. 4 days is what I'm talking about. And they induced it as well. I don't know, are you nurses as well? You're nodding like you know. Yeah, you have to induce that. They brought me a small pink laxative. If you ever go to a hospital anywhere in the world and they bring you a small pink laxative, very little goes a long way. If you've got a thimbleful, you can paint a barn. Very slippery stuff. Nice one. Now, immediately going from business, maybe we should be nurses. Can't beat nurses. Nurses are amazing. They make great lovers as well. I think everybody knows that. Nurses might say no, but they'll never say gross. Keep those lines of communication open. Have you met posh people yet?
Yeah.
Okay, at work or at school or what? How have you met posh people? Did you go to a cricket match and fall on the fucking pitch or what happened? Because they're hard to meet. Where did you meet? Was it rugby?
Well, my family lives here and they're friends. I saw them and they're pretty posh.
They're pretty posh.
Yeah.
Okay. What were the first indications that you thought, oh, these people are a bit different? What's going on
They
here?
looked down on me.
They looked down on you. You might be searching too deep for that. Enjoying my Harrogate water there. I do prefer Evian, not because I'm pretentious, just in case there's a drought in France. You want to make sure that you did your part. That's why I love the Brits, because they laugh at everybody else's pain. Americans cause pain, Brits laugh at the pain that happened. Fucking unbelievable. When I first came here, the Concorde had just gone down, and I'd just come out of like a Canadian news cycle, and I was still really affected by it. You know, in Canada, they pitch everything like it could be your own life. It could have been any one of us up there, you know. And in this very room, I met a friend that's now here tonight, and I went back to his place, and I told him, I said, the Concorde's pretty fucked up, and he just said, yeah, it's a French plane full of Germans going to New York. Like, yeah! Fuck yeah! I'm gonna see you in 30 years! In front of like 28 people. One of my favorite things about doing shows like this is everybody's like, well, at least he didn't suck cock to get here. For sure, he's earned these 48 people after 50 years of a career on his own merit, at least. Good work. We meet posh people because Canada is like kind of part of the empire. So we meet, in fact, British posh people even in Canada. They do things like rowing. I don't know if you...
Yeah, my family rows.
Oh, exactly. Okay, so they have that side of them. And I always had, like, rowers were the bane of my existence. I don't know if you have any rowers. Actually, I don't even have to... don't out yourselves. Don't feel less comfortable. They're probably in here, just fucking cagey posh people. Oh, they're going to notice that my socks don't match. Shit. Of course I'm not carrying cash. I'm loaded. But rowers, we would always meet, you know, randomly when we were doing, like, mainly lake training as kayakers in Canada. And I don't know if you have any rower friends, but if you know any rowers in your life, just pass this message on to them from other small craft users. Just that, hey, you know when you go out rowing in the morning, you know when you're out there with your buddies at like 4 in the morning before the sun even gets up and there's just a bit of mist on the water and you get out there and you row. Yeah. Well, the next time you're out there at, I don't know, 10 past 4 in the morning before the sun even gets up and there's just a bit of mist on the water and you're out there with your buddies going, row. Yeah. Well, the next time you're out there, why don't you consider rowing in the same direction as your fucking eyes? You ever argue with eight guys about the direction you're going? Okay, thanks, fellas. Yeah. You're all facing the wrong way, you know. You all can be wrong. Are you passing drinks around now? What are you drinking tonight?
Oh, this is just her water.
It's just her water. Oh, were you just presenting it so she could be less drunk on a wine shandy?
Exactly.
Are you the non-drinker in the group? I noticed that.
Oh, no, she's
Oh, right,
no.
okay.
I have my martini right here.
Oh, very nice. Okay. You call it a what?
A passion fruit martini.
A passion fruit martini. You know, that has never been near a fucking piece of fruit. Have you ordered a lemonade from these people yet? It's their favorite trick. They can see the hope in your eyes. Wow, they've got lemonade on the menu. I would love a lemonade or a flat fucking Sprite. Oh yeah, no, it's not fun. And it's still £5. I've spent lots of time in the States. I quite enjoy your country. I like the fixtures of your country. I've been like through the Grand Canyon. I went one of my favorite things, including on that trip, I went climbing in Alaska. And the nice thing about like American national parks is they'll let anybody try anything. It's amazing. Like they bring you into the ranger's office and they give you a full dressing down, but after that they're just like, so if you want to die, enjoy your life, take care. But we're not going to come looking for you. And you can't really beat that about, fucking Americans. You're just quite frank. You're dealing with a very overweight man with a 9mm. I'm just like, okay. Seems trustworthy. Have you noticed that their police don't have guns? Have you fucking seen that? It's fucking outrageous. They got a funny hat and a stick. And slow down, okay? Don't. Keep going. Enjoy your life. Fucking you learn to miss American cops after a while. Bang! Fuck, was that mine? I was eating chicken and then I wasn't eating chicken. British cops are fucking serious though. They don't panic. That's a very British thing. No matter how fucked up things are, no matter how outnumbered they are, they're just, oh fuck, okay. We have a problem here. Don't let your face know. Oh fuck, my hair's on fire. They ran up to Canada after you kicked them out after the old big freak out there. What was it, 76? 1776? So they came up to Canada and they stayed there and bothered us. They created us, but then they didn't keep track of their own history, and that's why I enjoy watching them when they come and visit Canada, because there's nothing funnier than watching British people step off a 10-hour flight and still run into the French. I always seem a bit perplexed. What are they doing here? What's going on? I don't know. Couldn't be because you beat them in a war and let them live. Brits are the most forgiving people on the planet. Thanks for the war. Nice to meet everybody. Take care of yourself. Good luck out there. Bother us forever. Yeah, I got invited to go climb in Alaska. I was in New Zealand at the time. Throwback to you there. I was in a hotel in Auckland, and a friend of mine called me from Vancouver, Canada. He said, hey, Craig, I think you probably know I'm going to climb Mount McKinley in Alaska. It's the tallest mountain in North America and the coldest climb on the planet Earth. I've had my climbing partner fall through, and I'd like you to replace him, and I want your answer before I hang up the phone. And because I'm a dickhead, I said, that sounds like a good idea. I'll do that. I only had about 6 weeks to work with, and in the basement of the hotel on Queen Street in Auckland, they had a bit of a mini gym in the basement of the place, and they had a rowing machine, and I practiced every day on the rowing machine, so that 3 weeks later, I got to Alaska really good at rowing. And it went really badly, really quickly. It was the first time I'd ever met like the superheroes of the climbing community, people that you just realized you're completely out of the league of, people with stumps for legs the size of your waist, and I was just like immediately on the back foot. And my buddy had also not told me that he'd invited his sister's husband-to-be, who was a really overweight pharmacist. who throughout the short expedition became known as the snow leopard because he was so infrequently seen out of the tent. And it transpired that because of this, I had to carry a lot of his equipment, his food, and consequently, I was already like incapable just to carry myself. And suddenly, I had someone else's gear. And I guess there's bits of it that I could be proud of. We got as high as 16,500 feet. I'll always give that to the Yanks. It's like fucking the highest I've ever been on the planet Earth. And it was after like a 2,000 foot, not vertical climb, but like quite steep climb. It looks vertical when you're on it. And I wasn't ready for that. I didn't expect there'd be anything that challenging. So I overdressed and I was very nervous the entire time. And all the way up with too much clothes on and being nervous, I sweated like crazy. And we got up to this little knoll that for the first time meant that we were facing the north side of the mountain, the coldest place on Earth. Like basically like the North Pole was now blowing up over the top of this cliff. And I got up there and I was soaking wet and fully exhausted. And I flash froze like a salmon in a factory. Like immediately I realized I couldn't go further, and I told my friend in no uncertain terms, I said, I can't go any higher. And he chose to start pounding on the snow in front of me. He I won't do it because he won't be able to see, but like he got down on his hands and knees and just started going, no! No! And I realized right away that he was fucking mental. And that I was actually saving our lives. And then we continued on the way down the mountain, and from that day, we're still not friends. He was insulting to me. We were then sleeping in separate tents all of a sudden because he so didn't like me and was so upset that I'd ruined his expedition, as it were. And we got down to a camp called Motorcycle Hill Camp, and now we're in the separate tents. And I bring this up because, it's only a Tuesday night, but they can always be special nights. And I know that almost 9 months ago in my own life. And I hope it happens for you as it happened for me then. I was quite a bit younger. It was 1998, and maybe that made me a little more hair-trigger than normal. But even though my life was utterly hideous and gone to shit, I'd lost my best friend, I'd failed on this climb that I really wanted to get to the top of, but as I was sitting there in my tent, in this big tent city, I got to hear a sound that I sincerely hope, Bethnal Green, that you get to hear tonight, or at least get to hear very soon in your own lives. It's very hard to tell distance in a tent city like that. It might have been the tent next to me, it might have been 2 or 3 over, but regardless, it was that unmistakable sound that we all know and love, that And I'm not overly proud of this bit, but it's absolutely the case that on that particular evening I felt the twitch, and I thought these randy folks need some accompaniment. And I don't know if anybody here has ever had the challenge, maybe on a camping trip, of trying to masturbate in a mummy bag. But it was really difficult to get the elbows past the choke point. And I thank a couple of years of jiu-jitsu for being able to finally pass the hand under the elbow. And I don't want to give away too many trade secrets here. But I put my thumb underneath the long underwear and snugged that underneath my nutsack. Gonna need you fellas out of the way here for a second. And after a bit of hard work and perseverance, I was able to make myself a nice little makeshift vagina. And I know that we've had a pleasant evening so far. And I fully understand, particularly the British sensibility is such that there's a lot of people in this room that are just thinking, why am I still fucking here? Oh God! The last thing I wanted to know is the intimate details of this guy jerking off in Alaska. But the other side of it is that there are a few Americans here. I'm Canadian. This is a very plural society. There's people from fucking all over the place, including Italy. And there's going to be some people that right now are going to be excited by the fact that on that particular night, in Alaska, I was successful! Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! I've blasted all over myself. And then you're in a bit of a pickle, right? It's not the Holiday Inn, you know. You don't just reach for a rack of towels or a box of Kleenex, right? Like, I had to just rub it in. Time to ice the cake. Smooth you down there. Gonna get you home, fellas. And I got myself together, and you probably heard from men, but it is true that physiologically it does help us sleep. And I don't know to what degree it benefited me that evening, but I did get to sleep, I remember that. And no different than Alaska now or tonight, it's gonna happen to most men in the audience. I even talked to a guy in the pisser that was recalling Andy Zapp doing a great job talking about fucking prostates. We all fucking got them. And on that night, I woke up and I had to take a leak, so I got out of the tent. And it's a lot like, any campsite really, except, surrounded by snow, so they make you walk on like a long trail to get to essentially the urinal. So it's, you're not pissing everywhere because people melt that snow to eat. So I did this long walk, and I took my piss, and I started back into the camp, and I started to notice that there were, people together, like huddled. There was an atmosphere, you get an instinct for people's behavior, and there were people crying together. I saw like friends, obviously distraught, and I hadn't any idea what had happened, and I wandered over to a guy that I got to spend a tiny bit of time with, and I still cherish in my mind. He was a Ukrainian climber. He was like the unofficial ranger of that camp. Totally hardcore dude. We once had a little heart-to-heart, tiny moment of vignette of our lives together, and he admitted to me, he told me that the reason he became a climber was because his brother was murdered in front of him at a bank machine in Kiev, and he just thought, I want to follow my dreams. So I really hardcore dude. He also was the only person ever to do a solo in the winter success of Mount McKinley. And I had a little moment with him. I said, what was that like? And he said, 2 hours digging, 4 hours walking. Oh, nice to meet you, Anatoly. So from that tiny experience with him, I realized right away that he would know what was going on with everyone else in the camp. And I marched over to him, and he was just there in a big red North Face jacket, big red bomber jacket open with like gold fucking necklaces and, the obligatory fucking cross the size of my head just fucking there. And I walked over to him and I said, Anatoly, what's going on? Something's clearly happened. And I don't know if anybody here actually works with Ukrainian people, but they're quite unguarded, unfiltered fucking people, and no different on that particular day. He just looked me straight in the brain, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. He goes, yes, perhaps you heard and I'm like, yeah, I heard that. He said, it took a man nearly 4 hours to die of heart attack. Thanks for letting me know, Anatoly. Here, buddy. So, absolute pleasure to crown this show. It's been phenomenal to watch it as well as be a part of it. A real pleasure. This is my first ever show with Unleashed. Thanks for having me. It's a big part of my life. I also am unjabbed. Thank you. Because they told me I had to. Well, that was that over. I'm going to go with self-respect instead. Okay, take care of yourselves. But to be outcast and then to be brought into the bosom of something that's so important to the comedy community, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Thank you.